Paris, 1943. Imagine an entire city searching for just one person. Not a general, not a soldier. One woman. The Gestapo wanted her captured at any cost, because she carried a weapon more dangerous than any gun. This is the true story of Noor Inayat Khan, a woman who never wanted war but became one of the bravest spies of World War II. For decades, her courage was almost forgotten by history. Noor was born in Moscow in 1914. Her father was an Indian Sufi mystic, and her mother was American. She grew up surrounded by music, poetry, and peace. No one could have imagined that this quiet young girl would one day find herself in the middle of the deadliest war in history. The family later settled in London, where Noor spent her days writing children's stories and playing the harp. She was quiet, gentle, and deeply artistic. If you had met her then, you would never have believed she would one day become a spy. Then, in 1939, everything changed. World War II erupted across Europe. Even though Noor believed deeply in peace, she knew she could no longer stand by while the world around her was falling apart. She joined the Women's Auxiliary Air Force as a radio operator. There, she mastered Morse code and wireless communication, skills that would soon make her one of the most valuable agents in British intelligence. Her talent didn't go unnoticed. It soon caught the attention of Britain's most secret wartime agency, the Special Operations Executive, or SOE. Its mission was simple, but deadly. Send ordinary people behind enemy lines to wage a hidden war. The SOE desperately needed radio operators willing to enter occupied France. But everyone knew the risk. Once a radio operator was discovered, survival was measured in weeks, not months. Most never made it past 6 weeks. She knew the chances of coming back were painfully small. Even so, Noor stepped forward without hesitation. The training that followed pushed her body, her mind, and her courage to limits she had never imagined. She learned to send coded messages, fire weapons, pick locks, and survive brutal interrogations. Just a few years earlier, she had been writing children's stories. Now, she was being trained for one of the most dangerous missions of the war. In June 1943, Noor was sent into Nazi-occupied France under the codename Madeleine. With that mission, she became one of the first female wireless operators ever deployed behind enemy lines. She landed alone in the French countryside under the cover of darkness. After hiding her parachute, she quietly made her way to Paris, where German soldiers, checkpoints, and informants watched almost every street. Her mission sounded simple, but surviving it was almost impossible. She had to keep the French resistance connected to London, sending secret coded messages every day while knowing one mistake could cost her life. Just a few weeks later, everything fell apart. The Gestapo swept through the network, arresting agent after agent. In the end, only one radio operator was still transmitting between Paris and London, Noor. She was given the chance to return to Britain immediately. Noor refused. She knew that if she walked away, the last connection between Paris and London would be lost, and countless lives could be destroyed. For nearly 4 months, Noor never stayed in one place for long. She moved from one safe house to another, changed her appearance, switched her routes, and sent her messages at different times, always staying one step ahead of the Gestapo. During those 4 months, Noor sent more vital intelligence from occupied Paris than anyone else in her network ever had. She was completely alone, constantly exhausted, yet she refused to stop. But the Gestapo was getting closer. Using radio tracking equipment, they began tracing the signals coming from Paris. Little by little, they realized those transmissions were leading them to Noor. Again and again, Noor was told to leave Paris before it was too late. Every time, she refused. She believed that if she left, the entire resistance network would collapse. Then, in October 1943, everything came to an end. Noor was betrayed, reportedly by someone she knew. In the middle of the night, the Gestapo stormed in and finally captured her. When the Gestapo came for her, Noor didn't surrender without a fight. She resisted with everything she had, struggling so fiercely that even the seasoned Gestapo officers were stunned by her courage. She was dragged into the freezing Paris night and taken straight to the Gestapo headquarters on Avenue Foch. For every resistance fighter in France, that address meant only one thing: fear. For the first time, Noor came face to face with the man assigned to break her. Calm, ruthless, and determined, he believed every secret locked inside her mind would eventually become his. But Noor refused to break. She revealed no names, no safe houses, and no secrets. Her silence became a shield, protecting dozens of resistance fighters who would never know how much they owed her. Twice, Noor tried to escape. During one attempt, she climbed through a narrow rooftop skylight in the middle of the night and came within moments of freedom. But fate was not on her side. After both escape attempts failed, the Gestapo took no more chances. Noor was transferred from France to Germany and officially declared an extremely dangerous prisoner. From that moment on, she was kept under the highest level of security. For almost a year, Noor was locked in solitary confinement. She was kept in chains, cut off from the outside world, and treated with relentless cruelty. But even after everything she endured, she never broke. In September 1944, Noor and 3 other captured female agents were taken to Dachau concentration camp. They all knew what that journey meant. It was the final chapter of a story that had begun with hope, courage, and sacrifice. What happened next remained a mystery for years. It was only after the war ended that witnesses came forward, and during the Nuremberg war crimes trials, the heartbreaking truth about Noor's final days was finally revealed. On the morning of September 13th, 1944, Noor Inayat Khan was executed at Dachau. Survivors later recalled that, in her final moments, she spoke just one word with unshaken courage: liberté. Freedom. She was only 29 years old. For nearly a year, she endured torture, isolation, and unimaginable suffering, yet not once did she betray a single name or reveal a single secret that could have put another life in danger. For decades, Noor's story remained hidden behind classified files and forgotten records. The woman who risked everything for freedom was almost erased from history, remembered by only a handful of people. It took years before the world truly honored her courage. In 1949, Britain posthumously awarded Noor the George Cross, one of the nation's highest honors for extraordinary bravery. It was a tribute she never lived to see. France honored her sacrifice too, awarding her the Croix de Guerre, one of the country's highest military decorations. It was a tribute to the foreign woman who fought for France, suffered for France, and ultimately gave her life on French soil. Today, a quiet bronze statue of Noor Inayat Khan stands in a peaceful square in London. It's more than just a memorial. It's one of the very few monuments in Britain honoring a woman of color who gave everything in the fight against tyranny. Even today, Noor Inayat Khan holds a place in history that few people know about. She was the first woman of Indian origin to receive Britain's highest civilian gallantry award, a legacy of courage that the world is only now beginning to remember. Noor's story leaves us with one haunting question. How many other heroes gave everything, asked for nothing, and were quietly forgotten by history? In the end, Noor Inayat Khan chose courage over fear, loyalty over betrayal, and sacrifice over survival. She gave everything for people she would never meet, and for far too long, history almost forgot her name.